If you're coming from a market where your housing budget feels like it's working against you, this video is going to change how you think about what's actually possible. Let me show you what that same money does in Wichita, Kansas. Let's get after it. Here's the honest starting point. Wichita's cost of living, depending on where you look, runs anywhere from 7 to 18% below the national average. The median sales price as of April 2026 is $249,535. That's the median. That's not the minimum. Houses roughly selling in 11 days at 100% of that list price. If you're coming from a market where that same money gets you a condo, a townhouse, or quite frankly, nothing at all, the math here is going to feel completely different. Not slightly different, dramatically different. The relocation buyers I work with who come from these higher cost markets consistently say the same thing. They expected Wichita to feel like a compromise. What they actually find is that their budget quality of life they couldn't access where they were. That's not marketing. That's what happens when your housing dollar suddenly works in your favor. The buying shift is the headline. What actually surprises people is not just housing, but where the math changes. Housing is the biggest number, but it's not the only one that moves. Groceries run below the national average here. Utilities are lower. Gas is consistently below the national average in Kansas. The dining scene, which is better than most people expect, is significantly more affordable than what you're used to in those larger, higher cost markets. Kansas eliminated the state sales tax on groceries back in 2024. That's real money back every single week at the register. The cumulative effect of all of these shifts is meaningful. It's not just your mortgage is lower, it's that your entire cost of living recalibrates in your favor simultaneously. The money math is easy to explain. What changes about your actual day is harder to quantify, but is just as important. Commute times here are relatively short. If you're coming from a market where 45 minutes, an hour each way is normal, that adjustment to 15, 20, 25-minute commute is immediate and significant. Time is the one thing you can't buy back. Space, you get more of it. Larger lots, larger homes, more room between you and the neighbors. If you've been living compressed by cost, that physical space change is how you feel about where you live. The community feel here is different from a major metro. Wichita is large enough to have real amenities. Intrust Bank Arena, the Wind Surge baseball stadium as you see there. Old Town, a genuinely good food scene, but small enough that it still feels like a place where people know each other. People put down roots here. That's a different experience than a high cost market. What you give up, you're not in a major metro. The entertainment calendar is smaller. Direct flight options from Eisenhower Airport are improving, but limited. If you travel frequently, factor that in. Wichita rewards people who are already here, not people always trying to get somewhere else. Cost of living, lifestyle, it's covered. Here, the piece that matters most is if you're seriously considering making this move. This is the conversation I have with almost every buyer coming from a higher cost market, and it's the one that changes the decision the fastest. If you're selling a home in a higher cost market and bringing equity to Wichita, your position here is completely different from a first-time buyer. That equity, which might have taken you 10 years to build in your previous market, can potentially eliminate your mortgage payment here entirely. You get significantly close to it. Buyers who do this right are not just moving to a more affordable city. They are fundamentally restructuring their financial life in a way that a higher cost market would never allow. Lower monthly obligations, more cash flow, more options. That's what the move actually does when you plan it properly. Here's what the April 2026 data tells us about the Wichita market. The median prices are holding steady. Remember, this is year over year, steady at $249,535. This is median. This is not the minimum. Houses, when they're marketed right, when they're priced right, still selling at 100% of that list price in 11 days. Active inventory up 0.7%. This is year over year. A stable market with more options for buyers. That's a healthy place to put your equity. Here's the honest bottom line and the one question you need to answer before any of this math actually matters. All of this only works if Wichita is actually the right fit for your life. The cost of living advantages is real. The buying power shift is real. The equity play is real. But none of it matters if you move somewhere that doesn't fit what you actually need day to day. So here's the question you need to answer honestly. What are your non-negotiables? Job location, remote flexibility, schools, community type, lifestyle preferences. Those are variables that determine whether Wichita works for your situation, not just the numbers alone. Come see it before you commit to anything. Drive the commute, walk the neighborhoods, get a feel for what daily life actually looks like here. No YouTube video, including this one, replaces being here in person. If you want to understand what home ownership actually costs here before you ever step foot in a home, the Home Buyer's Rough Draft is linked in the description. Free, no sign up required. You got to start here. And as with everything else in life, it's going to vary from person to person, situation to situation. Start here, take those next steps. If you want to understand what's happening in Wichita right now, the growth, the development, everything changing in 2026, check this video out right here. Or if you want to understand what your specific budget gets you in this market, that video is going to be right here too. When you're ready to have a real conversation about your move, call, text, email, DM, morning, afternoons, early evenings, weekends. I've got your back with relocation to Wichita and the surrounding areas. Everything is linked in the description. There's no sign up required. So get down there. You've got nothing to lose, and we'll catch you all back here in the next one.